Explanatory Notes L. I read from the Institute for Scripture Research, the ISR, because it takes a direct translation from Hebrew to English, Greek to English, and Aramaic to English. Yah is the Elohim of the heavens and the earth, the first and the last and the only, and he's an extremely jealous El. He's so jealous that he doesn't even want the names of idols or mighty ones to come to our lips. And Yah is short for YahWeh, YahWeh, Yod He Vav He. It's like saying Dan, Daniel, Daniel with an E. What is the difference and does matters when people say that Phil, Bob, Sam, and Aaron are the same name when no they're not. And no one in their right mind would ever believe that, and only a fool would believe that a hammer could force its creator to do anything, and there was no letter J in the Hebrew, Greek, or Aramaic text because the letter J is about 600 years old. While the son of Elohim, Yahoshua, died on a stake for the sins of all of humanity over 2,000 years ago, in a direct translation from Hebrew to English, Yahoshua is Joshua, and I strongly believe that the son of Elohim's name, Yahoshua, means YahWeh is salvation. The first one is Law A, and there's the Law B, so hang on. Law A in the Tanak, Tanak, pre-messianic scriptures. 1. We have rendered Torah as Torah, so spelled the same, rather than translating it by an English word, thereby retaining the force and flavor of the original as it appears in its various contexts. Praise Yahweh. A lot of people don't do that. A lot of people don't care about that. They think that that doesn't matter and that they should just be allowed to say whatever they want. But that's not true. This is true. While the closest English word is the traditional law, and that is the rendering given in the Greek text of the Messianic Writings from the Greek word nomos, N-O-M-O-S, the word Torah is far wider in meaning. It derives from the word Yara, Y-A-R-A-H, which carries the meanings to cast, to lay foundations, to sprinkle, to water, to send out the hand, to show, to indicate, to teach, to instruct. Gesenius, G-E-S-E-N-I-U-S. The word Torah is used in reference to precepts, commands, statutes, judgments, rules, whether in the singular or in groups. Understandably, then, it carries the additional meanings of body of law, body of instruction, etc., and is used to refer also to the entire content of the Hamash, H with a dot, U-M-A-S-H, the first 5 books of the Tanak, T-A-N-A-K with a line underneath of it, the preface. Oh, the preface is the first 5 books. Okay. I was confused, but now I'm not. Praise Yahweh. Earlier on, I was like, I don't think I read the preface. Oh, well, I had to have read the preface. It's the first 5 books of the Tanakh, the first writings. Indeed, when context indicates that the law of Yahweh is being referred to, the primary reference is to Hamash. Secondary references, including the example of national law given on Mount Sinai, Sinai, Shem 20 to 23, and its statement on the plains of Moab, M-O-A-B with a line underneath of it, Deb 29, 1-21, 1-21. We have rendered hawk, H with a dot, O-Q, and its feminine form, Hakak, H with a dot, U-Q-Q-A-H, in most places as law instead of the traditional statutes and ordinances. 3. We have rendered mishpat, M-I-S-H-P-A-T, as judgment or as right ruling, and its verb shafat, S-H-A-P-H-A-T, as judge or rightly rule. Expressions such as command, law, teaching, Torah, word, etc. are often used in an exclusive way, whether in the singular or in the plural. So plural means many, I'm assuming, because singular means one. Much of the Torah involves commands, laws, right rulings, statutes, etc., which relate to a properly constituted society, such as that which prevailed under Moshe, M-O-S-H-E-H, or under the sovereigns of Israel. As such, laws which clearly apply within a civil or national context are not to be misapplied by individuals living in a society that is not totally subject to the Torah as its constitution and legal code. Thus, for example, you may not decide to stone someone to death for violating the Sabbath. The decision would have to be made by a judge within the framework of such a Torah-based nation. Clearly, then, although these laws are still applicable, since the context in which they are to be applied is lacking at present, they can only be applied when such a Torah true nation comes into existence. For example, when Messiah returns to set up his reign. Law B in the Messianic Writings, so the second writings. The word law, Torah, occurs throughout the Messianic Writings, usually in reference to the Torah in whole or in part. In this respect, our comments above law in the Tanak should be considered as a background to the correct understanding of the usage of those who wrote the Messianic Writings, the second writings. However, a number of other points should also be borne, B-O-R-N-E, in mind, viz. V-I-Z. 1. Firstly, the text underlying all translations made today is Greek, not Hebrew, although the original Semitic structures and thought patterns underlying the Greek text are frequently still discernible in the Greek text. This means that Greek words like nomos, law, Torah, may also represent expressions or ideas other than Torah from time to time in the Messianic Writings. Thus, in Romiyim, R-O-M-I-Y-I-M 7 and 8, the word law sometimes refers to the Torah, the law of YahWeh, the first 5 books of the Tanak, first writings, as in Romiyim, which I'm pretty sure is Romans, 7:14-22, Romanium 8:3-7, but other times it refers to something else, such as a body of rules or a fixed system or pattern of behavior, as in Romanium 7:21-23 and 8:2. Both usages appear together in Romanium 7:25, where the law of sin, Torah of sin, i.e. the fixed behavior pattern of sin is law-breaking, Yohanan 1:3-4, is contrasted with the Torah of Elohim, the expression, the law of sin and death, Torah of sin and death. The Romanium 8:2, or in Romanium 8:2, is not a reference to the Torah as such, but to the system of sin and death in those who are walking in the flesh and not in the spirit. Romanium 8:1-7, 2. There are times when nomos, law, Torah, is used to refer to a portion of the Torah, such as that which applies to the Levitical priesthood, so the Levitical priesthood, L-E-W, or L-E with a half a check mark, W-I-T-I-C-A-L, Levitical priesthood, or to the set-apart place. The KJV calls it sanctuary. And a failure or refusal to see this could lead to the erroneous, E-R-R-O-N-E-O-U-S, conclusion that the Torah law given at Sinai, S-I-N-A-I, has been annulled, abolished, done away, or at least been changed, when in fact this is not the case at all. Matthew 5:17-20. An example of this is in Ibrim, Hebrews 7:12. The King James Version puts it this way: for the priesthood being changed, there is made of necessity a change also of the law. Since the change referred to is in reference to the scaling down from the heavenly original to the earthly shadow copy, see Ibrim, Hebrews 8:1-5, from a system in which the high priest is eternal to one in which the human high priest keeps dying and having to be replaced by another. It would be wrong to see this verse as a proof text for the position that the Torah law given through Moshe has been changed. A careful look at the context makes abundantly clear the fact that the order of Melchizedek, Malkitsed with a line underneath of it, EQ, preceded that of Lewi, LE with a half a check mark, WI, even as the heavenly set apart place preceded that of the earthly one. The fact that Yahoshua began his high priestly duties in the heavenly set apart place after his death on Golgotha, Golgotha, does not mean that the heavenly system only came into being at that time. The point made in Ibram Hebrews 7:12 is that the present earthly shadow copy scale model cannot produce perfection. Perfection requires nothing less than the ministry of such a Kohen Gadol. Kohen is Kohe with a half a check mark N, and then HA, and then capital GADOL, which means high priest. High priest, talking about him, Yahoshua, who is seated at the right hand of the throne of the greatness in the heavens. Yeah, talking about Yahoshua to YahWeh. And who serves in the set apart place and of the true tent which YahWeh set up and not man. 8:1-2. Lord. Substituting the name of YahWeh with Lord or Lord has been done in most translations is against all scripture. 1. It is a transgression of the third commandment, the third word, which prohibits us from bringing his name to naught, Naught, or falsifying it. 2. It is a transgression of the commandment word in Deb 4:2, do not add to the word which I command you, and do not take away from it. This is repeated in Deb 12:32, Mish 36, Hazan 22:18-19. You take away from this book, and your name will be taken out of the book of life. And if you add to this, then all the plagues of this book will be added to you. That's what Hazan 22:18-19 basically says. YahWeh reproves the prophets in Jeremiah 23:36. You have changed the words of the living Elohim. 4. Lord is not an innocent title. We trace it back to the Roman house deity and further back to the name of the Etruscan Etruscan sovereign Larth, Larth, not forgetting that in those days the sovereigns were deities. So this is a transgression of the clear command of Shem 23:13. Again, worshipping Greek pagan idols is not going to fly when it comes to YahWeh. Man might understand that what you're saying is true, but YahWeh does not like it, nor does he condone it, nor is he okay with it. So just because man's okay with it, and I'm not okay with it. I understand what you're saying, I'm not okay with it, and neither is YahWeh. That needs to get across your head. It's not okay. It's wrong. It's evil. Praise YahWeh for the truth.